Hi everyone, hope you had a good weekend. Last weekend was the Standard Chartered Singapore Marathon, also known as the SCM. Now the SCM is probably the most eagerly anticipated road race here in Singapore. The first race was the Singapore Marathon back in 1982, 5th of December. That was way before Stanchart was even in the picture. Personally, I have a little bit of a history with this Singapore Marathon way back in year 2000. Here's my personal story with the Stanchart Marathon. Back in 2000, the race was known as the Singapore International Marathon. I had been running with a group of friends regularly over 12 to 13 kilometers, and we thought, hey, why not join the half marathon? Only 8 km more, and I'm sure we can finish. And so we did. After we reached the 21 km mark, we still felt energetic, so we decided to keep running. And before we know it, we had reached the 31 km mark. Hey, another 11 km more and we finished the full marathon. So we decided to push on. But we only ran for 20 meters and both my legs started cramping very badly, and I decided to stop. We were then bussed to the finish line, which was at the old National Stadium. And they sent me a cert that says I completed the 3/4 marathon. Never bluff you, really says 3/4. The following year, I trained harder to finish a full marathon. It was then known as ExxonMobil International Marathon. I finished with a time of 5 hours. At that time, there were less participants and it was good enough for a men's local top 200 placing. Then, I took a 3-year break from marathon racing and returned in 2004. By then, it was known as the Standard Chartered Marathon that we are all familiar with. Finished with a time of 4 hours, 44 minutes and 46 seconds. The following year, I broke my PB by 14 seconds, and that is still my PB today. So this year's SCM is especially exciting because they offered an in-person race for the 5K and the 10 kilometers, as well as the Ekiden relay. So the moment I found out there's an in-person race, I immediately signed up. The only hesitancy was between 5K or the 10K. Eventually, I opted for the 5 kilometers. And how did the race go? Well, let's head down to the Marina Bay and find out. The best, man.
All the best. Have a good run. you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So that was the SCM 5 kilometers. So what are my thoughts about it? Actually, some mixed feelings. First of all, I'm extremely grateful and thankful that there's an in-person race. So thank you to all the organizers and all the volunteers for putting this together. Right, thank you very much. Okay, secondly, I really enjoyed the starting line format because we were flagged off in waves of 3, right? So every 10 seconds you get to move one step towards the start line, which kind of builds up the excitement, right? Then when the light turns green and it's time to go, okay, you really can go and run. Okay, not like in the past where when the VIP flag off the race, then you will slowly start to walk towards the start line. Then maybe 3 minutes later, you reach the start line. Then you start jogging, and then you want to run, but there's a mass of runners in front of you, right? Yeah. So I think this staggered start is it's a very good, refreshing change. Hope they will keep that for future races. Um, Once the race starts, it kind of feels a bit like a virtual race again because there's no beat and there's no timing chip, right? So you still have to use your running app or your smartwatch, okay, to take your own timings. There's no road closure, so you have to weave in and out of the crowd, which is quite difficult on Saturday 7 p.m. Marina Bay. Right, some parts are also quite dark, right? So you have to fend for yourself. Of course, there are marshals. They were there. They were very helpful, but there's not much they could do because it was really crowded. At the end of the day, well, it's still good that we get to like toe a start line, right, to meet other runners and run with other runners on the same route. So hopefully next year, okay, things will become back to how it was in the past, right? But maybe not the mass start. Let's have some staggered starts. Okay, it makes the race experience a lot better. So as for my own performance, I'm happy to set a new PB. The previous time I set this PB was about 20 years ago in my mid 20s. It was 23 minutes plus, cannot really remember. So in the SCM 5K, I did 22 minutes 59 seconds. So I'm really happy. Last check, overall my placing is 40th, and I think I'm still in the top 10 of my age group. Yeah, so that's good. And yes, hard work and consistency does pay off. All right, so that's all for today. All right, thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.